Well, ladies and gentlemen, we say happy Friday. Welcome to the Maima Goyah studio. This is your host, SUBOR Freeman, coming live from the Maima Goyah studio from the beautiful state of Minnesota. Once again, we want to say thanks to each and every one of you for tuning in. William Shop will say thank you. Conda Moses will say thank you. We appreciate you. You know that for those of you who don't know, that's Goyah music, traditional Goyah music. I'm very proud to see that my late mom was a Goyah woman from Jirijuai. And later on, my granddad migrated to Tori, based upon the invitation from the late Goyah. And my beautiful grandson dad, the late Goyah, migrated to Tori, where he established his own little town called Goyah town. But tonight we want to say thanks to each and every one of you for the continued support. We appreciate your support as always, for taking up your busy schedule and tuning in every time we're on the airwave to support us. We are grateful to God for you, and we pray that God will replenish every minute of your time that is spent on us. And tonight, before we begin the show, we like to take this time to say welcome. And we all extend the invitation to you on the show. You know, we say a lot of times we wait for Christmas or New Year Eve before we can say we're going to church to tell God thank you for what He has done for us throughout the year. But I'm here to remind us that I think it is very imperative and it is important that we tell God thank you every day. And so tonight, again, we want to extend our invitation to you that we meet on the prayer line Monday to Thursday, 4 days a week. And so this is an open invitation to you all, wherever you are. We are hoping and praying that you honor our invitation. We meet Monday, Thanksgiving, Tuesday, we study the Bible, Wednesday, we pray, Thursday, we study the Bible. Under the guardianship of Pastor Reginald Wanochie, you can come and listen for yourself, and I think you will like it. And that number is 763-220-3265. Once again, that number is 763-220-3265. So tonight, folks, we're going to be spending a great deal of time discussing some very important issues. And we're going to be hearing from the late Dr. Martin Luther King. And I think it will set the pace for our discussion. So tonight, we will look at three important topics. The first one will be, what is our identity as Liberians? Because every time we take the airwave, like we say, our main reason for doing this show is to educate us as Liberians. Maybe sometimes we feel that we know, but I believe we don't. And sometimes to just remind us as people. And I believe there is no better time than right now. And the second thing, we will be playing a tape from an interview from Senator Darius Dillon. And the third thing, we will be looking at some very important issues that is unfolding in Liberia. And so we want to say, if you are celebrating your birthday in the month of January, we say happy birthday to you. We pray that God will bless you with all of your heart desire. We pray that God will strengthen you. And if your birthday fall on your wedding anniversary, we say double shout out to you and your special loved one. We pray that God will bless your holy matrimony homes with love, peace, understanding, longevity. If you are bereaved, we also want to take this time to extend our deeper condolences to you and your family. We pray that God Almighty will comfort you, He will console you, He will strengthen you during the difficult time of bereavement. We also want to say that we understand it's not easy. It's a very challenging time, but we pray that God will comfort you, God will console you. And we want to say thanks to each and every one of you once again. Don't forget, this weekend is going to be a big weekend in Minnesota, in America as a whole. 14 is that 18 left. So don't forget, it's going to be really cool, very cool. So wherever you find yourself, don't do too much, stay warm, be safe, and enjoy the game, all right? But tonight, before we dive into what I'm about to talk about, our identity, our tradition and culture, and that is why we start off the show with playing the beautiful Goyah music. And as we proceed along, intermittently, we will play some traditional music because we're trying to highlight the importance of what it means from a cultural standpoint, the value and the importance that our culture play and transform our country or society. And I think as Liberians, we have lost that. And then we'll also play something for you from Senator Darius Dillon. Very important. And we'll discuss all of those issues. But before we will go any further, I want to first let you know that Monday we'll be doing a show celebrating the legacy and showing our gratitude to the late Dr. Martin Luther King. And so Monday's show is going to be very interesting. And so we encourage you to tune in on Monday because, as we all know, Dr. Martin Luther King paved the way. And so tonight, wherever you are, we want you to listen keenly. I hope you pay attention to these words because you were addressing high school kids in Philadelphia in the heat of the civil rights movement. And I believe this speech today speaks to us as people and as Liberians particularly. So we're going to play it. We're going to listen with an open mind. And as you listen to it, I'm going to reflect on you as an individual. How is this speech is speaking to me? And what can I do after I listen to this? And so we all, any further ado, we want to welcome you now to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. This is I'm going to play from the beginning. I want to play from the beginning. I want to play from the beginning. Bear with me, please.
Number one in your life's blueprint should be
Bear with me for a minute, please.
things from crippling circumstances. There came a George and help welcome our honored
All right, there you go, folks.
guest, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Thank you very kindly. Principal Fornese, Mr. Williams, members of the faculty and members of the student body of Barrett Junior High School, ladies and gentlemen. I need not pause to say how very delighted I am to be here today and to have the opportunity of taking a brief break in a pretty busy schedule in the city of Philadelphia to share with you the students of Barrett Junior High School. And I want to express my personal appreciation to the principal and the administration for inviting me and for giving me the opportunity to see this very fine and enthusiastic group of students here at Barrett. I guess I ought to start out with a commercial, and that is tonight we're going to have a great night in the city of Philadelphia at the Spectrum. Now, I know you've heard of that new impressive structure called the Spectrum. And I know you've heard of Harry Belafonte and Aretha Franklin and Nipsey Russell and Sidney Poitier and all of these other great and outstanding artists. Well, they're going to be here tonight at the Spectrum. And I hope that each of you will go home and tell your parents to be there tonight for this great Freedom Festival. And I hope you will come also, for it will be a great experience. And by coming, you will be supporting the work of the civil rights movement. Now that I've gotten the commercial out of the way, I'll move on and say some things that I want to say very briefly. And I'm being very honest, I'm going to be brief because I have other engagements. I don't have a tradition of being brief all the time. You know, I'm a Baptist preacher. We can talk a long time. But I'm going to really be brief today. I want to ask you a question, and that is, what is in your life's blueprint. This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go.
Hmm.
And whenever a building is constructed, you usually have an architect who draws a blueprint. And that blueprint serves as the pattern, as the guide, as the model for those who are to build the building. And a building is not well erected without a good, sound, and solid blueprint. Now, each of you is in the process of building the structure of your lives. And the question is whether you have a proper, a solid, and a sound blueprint. And I want to suggest some of the things that should be in your life's blueprint. Number one, in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own somebodyness. Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody. Always feel that you count. Always feel that you have worth. And always feel that your life has ultimate significance. Now that means that you should not be ashamed of your color. You know, it's very unfortunate that in so many instances, our society has placed a stigma on the Negro's color. You know, there are some Negroes who are ashamed of themselves. Don't be ashamed of your color. Don't be ashamed of your biological features. Somehow you must be able to say in your own lives and really believe it, I am black but beautiful. And believe it. And therefore you need not be lured into purchasing cosmetics advertised to make you lighter. Neither do you need to process your hair to make it appear straight. I have good hair, and it's as good as anybody else's hair in the world. And we got to believe that. In your life's blueprint, be sure that you have that a principle of somebody. Secondly, in your life's blueprint, you must have as a basic principle the determination to achieve excellence in your various fields of endeavor. You're going to be deciding as the days and the years unfold what you will do, what your life's work will be. And once you discover what it will be, set out to do it and to do it well. And I say to you, my young friends, that doors are opening to each of you Doors of opportunity are opening to each of you that were not open to your mothers and to your fathers. And the great challenge facing you is to be ready to enter these doors as they open. Ralph Waldo Emerson, the great essayist, said in a lecture back in 1871 that if a man can write a better book or preach a better sermon or make a better mousetrap than his neighbor, even if he builds his house in the woods, the world will make a beaten path to his door. That hasn't always been true, but it will become increasingly true. And so I would urge you to study hard, to burn the midnight oil. I would say to you, don't drop out of school, and I understand all of the sociological reasons why we often drop out of school. But I urge you, in spite of your economic plight, in spite of the situation that you are forced to live so often with intolerable conditions, stay in school. And when you discover what you're going to be in life, set out to do it as if God Almighty called you at this particular moment in history to do it. And just don't set out to do a good Negro job, but do a good job that anybody could do. Don't set out to be just a good Negro doctor, a good Negro lawyer, a good Negro school teacher, a good Negro preacher, a good Negro barber, a beautician, a good Negro skilled laborer. Or if you set out to do that, you have already flunked your matriculation exam for entrance into the University of Integration. Set out to do a good job and do that job so well that the living, the dead, or the unborn couldn't do it any better. Falls your lot to be a street sweeper. Sweep streets like Michelangelo painted pictures. Sweep streets like Beethoven composed music. Sweep streets like Leontine Price sings before the Metropolitan Opera. And sweep streets like Shakespeare wrote poetry. Sweep streets so well that all the host of heaven and earth will have to pause and say, here lived a great street sweeper who swept his job well. If you can't be a pine on the top of the hill, be a scrub in the valley. But be the best little scrub on the side of the rill. Be a bush if you can't be a tree. If you can't be a highway, just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. But it isn't by size that you win or you fail. Be the best of whatever you are. We already have some noble examples of black men and black women who demonstrated to us that human nature cannot be cataloged. They in their own lives have walked through long and desolate nights of oppression, and yet they've risen up and plunged against cloud-filled nights of affliction, new and blazing stars of inspiration. And so from an old slave cabin of Virginia's hills, Booker T. Washington rose up to be one of America's great leaders. He lit a torch in Alabama, and darkness fled in that setting. Yes, you should know this because it's in your own city. From a poverty-stricken area.
Wow.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Marion Anderson rose up to be the world's greatest contralto, so that a Toscanini could say that a voice like this comes only once in a century, and Sibelius of Finland could say, my roof is too low for such a voice, from the red hills of Gordon County, Georgia, and the arms of a mother who could neither read nor write, Roland Hayes rose up to be one of the world's great singers and carried his melodious voice into the palaces and mansions of kings and queens. From crippling circumstances, there came a George Washington Carver to carve for himself an imperishable niche in the annals of science. There was a star in the diplomatic sky, and then came Ralph Bunce, the grandson of a slave preacher. He reached up and grabbed it and allowed it to shine in his light with all of its scintillating beauty. There was a star in the athletic sky. Then came Jackie Robinson in his day, and Willie Mays in his day with their powerful bats and their calm spirits. Then came Jesse Owens with his fleet and dashing feet. Then came Joe Louis and Muhammad Ali with their educated fists. All of them came to tell us that we can be somebody, and to justify the conviction of the poet, fleecy locks and black complexion cannot forfeit nature's claim. Skin may differ, but affection dwells in black and white the same. If I were so tall as to reach the pole, or to grasp the ocean at a span, I must be measured by my soul. The mind is the standard of the man.
The mind is the standard of the man. The mind is the standard of the man.
Finally, in your life's blueprint must be a commitment to the eternal principles of beauty, love, and justice. Don't allow anybody to pull you so low as to make you hate them. Don't allow anybody to cause you to lose your self-respect to the point that you do not struggle for justice. However young you are, you have a responsibility to seek to make your nation a better nation in which to live. You have a responsibility to seek to make life better for everybody. And so you must be involved in the struggle for freedom and justice. Now, in this struggle for freedom and justice, there are many constructive things that we all can do and that we all must do. And we must not give ourselves to those things which will not solve our problems. You've heard the word nonviolent and you've heard the word violent. I happen to believe in nonviolence. We struggle with this method with young people and adults alike all over the South, and we have won some significant victories, and we've got to struggle with it all over the North because the problems are as serious in the North as they are in the South. But I believe as we struggle with these problems, we've got to struggle with them with a method that can be militant, but at the same time does not destroy life or property. And so our slogan must not be burn, baby, burn. It must be build, baby, build. Yes, our slogan must be learn, baby, learn, so that we can earn, baby, earn. And with a powerful commitment, I believe that we can transform dark yesterdays of injustice into bright tomorrows of justice and humanity. Let us keep going toward the goal of selfhood, toward the realization of the dream of brotherhood, and toward the realization of the dream of understanding goodwill. Let nobody stop us. I close by quoting once more the man that the young lady quoted, that magnificent black Bob who is now passed on, Langston Hughes. One day he wrote a poem entitled Mother to Son. The mother didn't always have her grammar right, but she uttered words of great symbolic profundity. Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stab. It's had tacks in it. Boards torn up, places with no carpet on the floor, bare. But all the time, I've been a climbing on and reaching landings and turning corners and sometimes going in the dark, but there ain't been no light. So, boy, don't you stop now. Don't you sit out on the steps because you find it's kind of hard, but I'm still going, boy. I'm still climbing. And life for me ain't been no crystal stair. Well, life for none of us.
Well, folks, once again, we want to say thanks to each and every one of you. That was the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. As we are preparing to celebrate another birthday of a man that I listen to almost all the time, because every time I listen to this icon, this legend that is so bigger than life, his words cut me like a knife go through your skin and inspire me. And what a beautiful time to listen to this speech, as the whole world, in particular Liberia, where we are faced with enormous challenges. And when he gave that speech, it was in Philadelphia. He was speaking to a group of high school students. And he used words like symbolic. As you can even see at the end of the speech, a quote. Grandma telling her grandchild, it is no time to sit down. He talked about your wealth, self-worth. You must value yourself first. Don't let nobody, do not allow anybody to make you feel that you're nothing. And he telling the kids, talking from Mount Angela to Jackie Robinson to Muhammad Ali to Jesse Owen, people who are in the struggle, reminding them that you're not too young. If we as a Negro will be successful, we must get involved into the fight, not by violence. He denounces violence. He said, we will do it together peacefully, but we must be persistent. Don't try to use some chemical that will make you lighter just because you want to fit in. Be proud of the fact that you are a black man or you're a Negro. That is the voice or the voice of Dr. Martin Luther King at the time. And that, with that being said, bring me to our topic today. Liberians, I urge you to listen, share that video, and listen to Dr. Martin Luther King addressing the current issue that we face today in Liberia. And that leads me to, what is our identity? What is our identity as Liberians? As we sit here, if you are just joining us, we said tonight we're going to be talking about the importance of culture and tradition. And we're going to be talking about, we were going to be playing a speech or an interview from Senator Darius Dillon. And so we played that because at the time our speech was made, and if you can listen to it, those were troubling times in the history of this country. And Dr. Martin Luther King speaking to the kids, inspiring them, trying to encourage them. And so there's no better time. And some of the words that he used in that speech, I believe, as Liberians, we need to hear that speech again because we are losing our identity as a nation. We're trying to fit in with almost every culture. Wherever we find ourselves, we try to blend in. And that is why he said, if you can't be a bush, be a tree. If you can't be the sun, he said, be a star. If you can walk, crawl. But by all means, we must keep moving. Because the challenges is so enormous right now around the world, especially Liberia. And since the war, we are lost a very piece of important life or important piece of our very existence. And that is, many days I ask myself who we are. Do we even have a culture anymore? Do we even have a culture or tradition anymore? And those of you who are watching, you can remind me. And so we wanted to talk to you about the importance of culture, how valuable it is, and some of the reasons why we're successful in the early days of our nation. Respect, how proudful we were, how everything that was given to us, we cherish it. But today, Liberians, we're trying to be Ghanaians, we're trying to be Nigerians, we're trying to be Europeans, we're trying to be Americans, we're trying to be Asian. Just wherever we find ourselves, we try to blend in with that culture, forgetting about our own tradition and culture. To the point that we are sensitized. And that is the reason why you see we as people, we are struggling. There's a big, that's why we do the show, to educate people, because when we talk about tradition, people believe that tradition, for some reason, other people got different interpretation, especially for us. Because if you go back to the Bible, even when Jesus was born, he still did not despise the Jewish tradition or the Jewish culture. But today, as Liberians, we are losing everything. And because of that, you can see the clear manifestation in how we treat our beautiful country that we have been blessed with by God. And so tonight we're going to speak on the importance of tradition, culture. Culture is so vital to any successful society, because culture helps to provide us with what I call the sense of identity, sense of belonging. Don't forget, Martin Luther King talking to the kids. Be proud of who you are. You are a Negro. Be proud of your color. Know your worth. Understand how beautiful and handsome you people are. Do not try to desensitize by applying different chemicals to your skin to look lighter. You're talking about in the 60s. Martin Luther King speaking to kids. Because you were trying to instill into them the sense of belonging. We must embrace our culture, our heritage, because today Liberia have lost that. Liberians have lost that. Judy Andy had that position, I don't know for how long. When we dress, including me. Now, when we do the show, it is done because we yet to point finger, but including me. Proper suit. I mean, you can see that even from the way we dress, and sometimes the way we talk, or the way we act. We just go with copycat. And I'm here to remind us that if we will re-emerge as a civilized, successful nation, we must, I repeat, we must embrace our culture, our tradition. We must be grateful and proud of Liberia, where we're from. And we have to be ambassadors for those of us that are out of the country to promote our tradition and culture. We must refuse and resist to pretend or to try to copy or to please other culture because we want to fit in. And so culture provides a sense of identity, belonging, a shared value that help us interact with each other. Culture really teach, tradition and culture teach us how to love, to understand where we're from. Because if we understand our culture and our values, we will turn to treat our country very, very lovely and better. But today, people in Liberia want to live that they're living in America and in Europe. And if you put all of that together, that is the reason why corruption is so high in our nation. Because what you cannot afford, you're not even grateful for who God made you to be. You don't even appreciate the country you're from. And so nowadays, everybody want to be Europeanized or Americanized. And that's why we take our resources and the valuable thing that is in Liberia, we take it and sell it. We don't turn to defend our culture, but rather we promote other people's culture. And so I want to remind us, I'm going to talk about three important steps that as Liberian, it is about time 20 and 25. We must embrace our culture. We must reintroduce our tradition to our kids. We must reintroduce our tradition and culture to our kids. Because it possibly, especially for those of us that live in America, but even the people that live in Liberia, okay, you say people that are out of the country, it is very hard because The children have to find way to fit in with the other. But the people themselves that live in Liberia, they don't even value our tradition. The poor society have been played with. The silent society have been played with. People have been brainwashed. And because of that, you can see the profound effect that is having on our nation. So even when you're in a country cell, the way the kids talk to people, the way we treat each other, it is all because we are lacking what I call identity. And so for number one, the importance of tradition. Identity and belonging. Culture help people to identify with one another and from a sense of belonging within a society. Keyword, culture, identity and belonging. Culture help people to identify with one another from a sense of belonging. If we can identify as Liberians, that means we'll have a sense of belonging. That means we'll treat each other with respect, we'll love each other, we'll love our country, and we'll do everything we can to preserve. To preserve. But today, see how we treat each other. See how we treat each other, because we do not have anything we call culture again. Either we are Americans, or we are Nigerians, or we Americans, you name it. When I was growing up, our tradition, our culture, when I used to go Tori for vacation, when you're shaking your elder hands, you have to put your hand on it. Women were respected. Women were taught how to take care of the homes. Men were taught how to be a man, how to be a provider. Today is the other way around completely. Most of our men in our community, they don't even know how to work. Women have become the breadwinner in most of the homes. Women feel like they are the head of the home. They do not show any respect to their spouses or to their husband. And because of that failure to educate and teach our people the importance of tradition and culture, you see the divorce rate within our community, sending our children in complete disarray, because two forces clashing consistently, where we try to fit in and find some community or sense of belonging. Because the sole reason is because the lack of tradition and culture impact. Because back in the day, don't get me wrong, people are not just getting married because they want to get married. When people got married or the people died, it was not like a ceremony that no. The secret and the value of that was people understand the importance of those vows that they made to each other. They didn't learn it, or they wasn't born with that. But they were learned through culture and tradition. And that's what they say. Identity and belonging. Culture help people to identify with one another. They learn it rather. But they learn it because the culture, a sense of belonging with a society, a culture practice, value and belief that provide the sense of belonging. It help foster social unity. And listen to this, the important key point, it reduces conflict. It reduces conflict within society. Because we understand our role. And so our culture teach us that, it provide that. But because we have lost our sense of identity, which have to be our culture, our children are born here, we're not even teaching them, we're not even proud to tell them we're from Liberia. And this is, I'm a grown man from Lorain County. My mom from Bomi, Jerry Dry, raw Gola woman. But you know one thing, I'm very blessed to my parents because I was able to experience the global tradition and the Gola tradition. And sometimes we do not come on the show to brag, but people who are interacting with us and know how I carry myself, God come first. But because of those traditional values, today, that I learned from my people, from the culture, that still guide me in the way I conduct myself. But because we have forgotten about our tradition, that is why you see the divorce rate again so high in our community. There is no respect the way women treat their husband, the way husbands treat their wives. And yes, the key point, it reduces conflict because it teaches us how to be, civilization comes from culture. Civilization comes from tradition. It is the core values that will bring us together. And because of the lack of that, Liberians were looking for identity. And so because the way other people treat their people, don't forget, it is acceptable in our culture. And you see our kids scrambling all over the place. In Liberia, people live in Liberia and try to live like they live like Americans. So my people, we must embrace our culture. And that is why you see corruption is so high. Because most of our leaders don't have traditional value. They wasn't taught what it means to be a Liberians. If you think I'm lying, look at the country right now. Look at Liberia and tell me if we're heading in the right directions. The second thing culture does, or the second thing culture will do, communication and understanding culture help to facilitate understanding among people. It helps to facilitate communication and understanding. And so when other people interact and they see how we treat each other and how we respect our culture, guess what? Just by demonstrating how we behave, that's a communication all in itself. So then they understand, oh, but these people here, I think they got some system. But you know why? When people see us, even by the way we dress, the way we talk, we always finding ways and means to fit in. And we sending mixed messages to our children. I will give you one example. Liberian children that are born in the United States or even in Liberia, they don't even want to be identified as Liberian. It's because the sense of belonging. That's what culture does. Culture gives you the sense of belonging. And that's why the late Dr. Martin Luther King was speaking to those kids in Philadelphia, telling them, say, you got to understand the importance of self somebody. Don't allow anybody to tell you you're nothing. I'm not saying it. Those are quotes from the late Dr. Martin Luther King. Don't let nobody tell you, say, you're nothing. Liberians, we have to embrace our culture and our tradition. We have to be very proud to even tell and lecture people about our tradition and our culture. We have to teach our children where we're from. We have to make them to understand a sense of belonging. Today we live in a very confused world because the fact of the truth is we abandon our tradition and culture. Thank you, Mr. Nathan Gaplo. Thank you, Wilma Davis. Welcome to the show. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? 2025, 2025, we must embrace our culture because happy, like I said, communication and understanding. Culture help to facilitate communication and understanding among us. Culture practices, what? Symbols, languages, framework. It help people understand each other, perspective. Culture can help to reduce misunderstanding and promote social harmony. That's what culture does. That's the second thing. The third thing, preserve. Culture help to preserve a society heritage and history. This is a very important one. Culture, practices, and tradition are often passed down from generation to generation, providing a link to the past and a sense of continue what we call the in the present. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We are not doing that. And so we say to ourselves, who we are as Liberians, who we are. I can't identify us. We're not proud. We are not proud of who we are. My people, 28, 25, let it be a different year. Because I believe if we start to really embrace our tradition and culture, let us start talking like other national. Let us make people understand that we're from this beautiful country called Liberia in West Africa. That's what Dr. Martin Luther King was telling the kids. You can't sit on the side and expect change to come. You must get involved. And people in the diaspora all believe that we have no fish to fry in the oil. And so people believe that, you know why? Some people already in America declare themselves American. They say, I don't have anything to do with Liberia because either out of frustration or because they believe that what is unfolding in this country, they have no part to play. I say to you today, my fellow Liberians, we as people, we must understand that each and every one of us play a vital role in our nation history. And if Liberia will rise again, we must embrace and accept the challenges that our nation is faced with. And we must starting today, to promote our tradition and culture. We shouldn't allow people to tell us that the Martin Luther King was telling the train. Don't allow people to tell you that you're not good. No. People can come to us and tell us, say, the poor society, the silent society, or no. They do not understand it. It was passed down to us. And tell me, back in the days, when these things were our tradition in full swing, there was tremendous respect. There was sense of belonging. How many times you saw people trying to leave Liberia? But today the children in Liberia are completely lost. You know the sad thing? We are willing to embrace other people's culture and tradition. See how people dress in Liberia. See how the people dress. They're more westernized than some of us that live all those years in America. Go to the country and see how the children dressing. See how they carry themselves. They don't have no part to play. And because of that, you think they're going to love the country? And that is why the country is so corrupt. The country is polluted. because there is no sense of belonging. There is no sense of, if we can embrace other people's culture, we in Liberia, I tell you the truth. I went to that place, we stopped in a hotel, I would just save the hotel name because of where popular hotel. From the time we're over there, who heard the people playing the DJ, the people play American music, European music, and then one day I walk to the bar and I ask the people, I say, they have different nationalities. And I ask the people, I say, some of us, where we coming from, when we go to bar and restaurant, or we go to hotel, we don't hear the music. Why are you guys playing when we got different nationalities among us? Different nationalities. We can't even play our traditional music. I'm telling you a living story. And I told them, I say, it's sad. And guess what the lady told me? Who are in charge? She said, oh, and I shook my head. I said, we're in trouble. We're not even proud to tell the people about our culture or our tradition. We can't even play our own music. Folks, that is why you see corruption, the disrespect for the rule of law. That is why teenagers are getting pregnant. The drugs has engulfed the entire nation. People are killing people. Look at the murder rate, not just in Liberia, but come to America and see. Because the lack of sense of belonging. And because kids do not value their cultural tradition. I encourage us, use your platform at your working place, at your home. Start to teach your children about our beautiful country, Liberia. Try to do that. If Liberia will get better, we must embrace our tradition and our culture. I'm telling you, if we can resuscitate our tradition and culture, the rate crime will go down like this. People will start to do the right thing again. Honesty will prevail. But our kids are incomplete, especially, like I said, the sad thing. The kids that are in Liberia never travel out of Liberia. They're so Americanized and Europeanized to the extent that when you're there, you don't even recognize. From the way we dress to the way we talk, the way we treat each other, I encourage us, especially the Minister of Internal Affairs, reintroduce our culture to the teachers, from elementary schools to high school. We must prioritize civics. We must reintroduce civics. We must read books about our culture. We must teach our culture to our children. Because if we can do that, we will start to love our nation. And that is the reason why people take money out of the country and carry to other poor country to develop it and leave our country in a slum. Our country is filthy dirty because there is no love. There is no sense of belonging. And so we're going to pause yet. And our next topic, we're going to play you an interview. And I think this will be our next topic, because when I listen to the interview, I already been talking about this on my show. So we'll pause here. We'll play you some traditional music. Because we're talking about tradition. And we're talking about the importance of culture. And so we're going to make sure we play some really good music. And then we'll come back. Yes. And then we'll come and we'll play this speech. This speech. We're going to play this speech. All right, folks. The time is down 6:25. For you today, we are going to go very heavy on tradition, the importance of tradition and culture. And we told you that we had two topics. And so I hope we did our due diligence to that topic. And the second, we told you we're going to play an interview from Darius Dillon, Senator Darius Dillon. So stay tight. I want you to watch it with an open mind, and then we'll discuss.
If somebody else can say you made 3,000, you're a pastor to make 3,000, I will agree. I am proposing 5,000 and below.
And if you have any comment, we look forward to you
Understand?
letting us know exactly what you think.
When we say honeymoon, it means you allow some things to slide that will not ordinarily slide. You think beginning, the end of this month going forward, we sit down here and the president still having people acting in tenure positions in violation of the tenure law? No, it should not be. It will not happen. It should not happen. You understand? The central bank, people who presiding over our money, and you know the monetary policy of the country is a security, national security issue. Somebody who presiding over our monetary policy cannot be acting in that role for over a year or more than a year. This January, should end all of those kind of periods. So there are things we allow to slide because we wanted the government to sit. Now that the government, in our view, is sitting, no excuse.
Now, and then the final concern
No
is,
excuse.
so the final concern is, before now we saw you were very strong on the issue of the legislature, uh, going back on the salary issue. You were pushing for your fellow lawmakers to wear
Yeah.
5,000
Yes.
that. Uh, what are we going to see? Are we going to see the reintroduction of that bill? Do you think it's
No,
going
but
to
the thing,
survive?
Nelson, let me disappoint on this salary issue. I know that the talking point will be for the year, and I want it. I'm dropping that bill. Liberian want that bill. They just let me talk about it. You in the media, you don't want that bill. You were right here when I reintroduced that bill in October last year. My colleagues were laughing at me on the floor. They said that bill that I want to see about it. Some people said I was talking about the camera. And you carried the people who were making negative comment when I reintroduced that bill for us to make $5,000 reduce our salary. Some of my colleagues were making negative comments against that bill. None of you reported it. But if somebody had introduced that bill and I made negative comment against that bill, it was going to be the talking point. So
disappointed.
I'm not only disappointed now in my colleagues, I'm disappointed in the media, I'm disappointed in the civil society. How many groupings, how many Liberians have come with placard or say we agree with Senator Dillon bill? Every time we put a bill on the floor, our colleagues laugh and the media laugh with them, and nobody says it. But if those negative comments against reducing our salary, if they were coming from Dillon, it would have been the headline news. So if the country wants it, the country will come for it. The bill here. So you stop asking me for that one bill when you're not pushing it. One time you're not open your talk show to say Liberians, you don't get involved. They don't put a bill on the floor. But every day, why your bill? Why the bill here?
So
you're not promoting it, you're not supporting it.
So to follow up on the question asked by my colleague Nelson.
Yeah.
Are you saying when a bill is passed or pushed by you, saying that if the media do not help in lifting such bill, you're going to abandon it?
No, I put a bill on the floor for us to look at the statute of limitation. I'm not waiting for you. You know what it means? It takes character, courage, and the how you call it, understanding of your own situation as a leader to reduce your salary. I can't reduce my own salary. I'm not president. The president of Liberia announced 40% reduction in his salary. You know that how much? You in the media, you know that how much? Hey, okay, the president reduce his salary, the president reduce his salary, how much? In order for us to reduce our salary here, it must be by law, Article 36. In other countries, when people put people-oriented bills on the floor, it is the people that draft it and cause pressure to come on the lawmakers. How many of you, all of you in the media, and all of us together, how many persons now ask the lawmaker from the county, say, why you get Johnson to deal on that bill? I'm proposing 5,000. If somebody else can say 2,000, I will agree. If somebody else can say you made 3,000, you're a past law to make 3,000, I will agree. I am proposing 5,000 and below. Why the country can't jump, but every day they ask me, Senator Dillon, what your bill? My bill right here. All of you were here in October last year under this rescue government when I reintroduced that bill. Last October.
Yes.
And you here?
Yes.
And your husband, the comments from my colleagues here, you highly me that for beating my colleagues for making negative comment against that bill. So that Liberians say they want.
So there was this story that when one of your colleagues, I just followed.
You know, folks, there you have it. I really want to apologize. I want to apologize openly because as Liberians is one thing that we do frequently. The dis and misinformation and the don't care attitude of us got us in the mess that we're in today. And that is why when I obtained this interview, I said, tell God, thank you. I'm going to play it. I want to remind us that, again, it was so critical. I hope you share this video from the beginning to listen to Dr. Martin Luther King when he spoke to those kids in Philadelphia, reminding them if we will be successful in getting our freedom, all of you people must get involved. And that is what I said when we had the election 20 and 23. I said it was the movies that we have created. But it would take each and every one of us to get involved if the government will be successful. I told you people that Liberia problem was never Judge Goyah. It's us as Liberians. We are the problem. We are the problem. We are the problem. We have gotten to a place that we just want to sit down and things happen. We're not waiting to make sacrifices. We're not waiting to challenge the status quo. We believe, we feel so entitled that everything's supposed to happen and just supposed to fall from the sky. Let's know to Senator Darius Dillon, he's 100% right. And I was talking to somebody from Liberia, they say the man must reintroduce the bill. The man reintroduced the bill in October under the rescue mission. And that's why when I say it will take collective effort from every one of us. If Liberia will get better, if Liberia will really shine, we have to get involved. And you can see the frustration, and I understand. And I can tell you for free that Senator Darius Dillon is somebody that I can support in anything he's doing, because yes, the difference between Darius Dillon and Yeke Koluba. Yes, there's a big difference. Yes, people say Yeke Koluba, he always gets story, he on point. But you see what I mean? Darius Dillon understand and understood that with my position, I was elected to make a difference. He introduced a bill to reduce the salary to 5,000. And that's what I always say, member of the full estate. We're not doing a good job either. I don't understand. Maybe, I don't know. I think part of the thing just comes to ignorance. Because he make a very valid point. When people introduce a bill, the media, you know, the media play a very important role in the transformation in a society, because you know why? We all can be media practitioners. There are divisions of labor, and we choose to go in a very profession because we want to make a difference. Yes, we understand that we go to school because we want to make our life better, but also, I always say this, TT Boom say, where's the significance? Success and legacy. Because the fact remains that after that bill was introduced, the media should have grabbed it and run with it. They're supposed to take that information and spread it around, including us in the diaspora. I'm just hearing about that. Nobody did it. And Senator Darius Dillon said he reintroduced the bill in October. And the same media people coming by and asking the man question what happened with the bill. What did the people do? And you're right. We the people, if from Maryland County, you get being your senator and your representative, that bill must pass. You people must reduce your salary. Article 36. And you're 100% right. He cannot, he's not the president. And so when opportunity presents himself, everybody need to jump on it. That was time for the Liberian people to rally behind Darius Dillon to make sure to see the reduction in the salary of those people who call senator and representative. Those people are doing no work in there. So when you sit down and complain that the country is hard, how you expect the country to get better? When you got one man at least who trying his best. Liberians, let's start blaming people for nothing. Nobody will change Liberia besides us. Nobody will change Liberia besides us. Nobody will change Liberia besides us. I don't know. We say we like people. We should let people based upon what they're doing for us. And listen, then when people sit and say, what you expect Darren Dillon to do? Darren Dillon supposed to be dishing on money? And I think that's the stupidity part of Liberian people. Your lawmakers are supposed to be giving you money. Your lawmakers are supposed to pass laws that will make your life better. Do you want to be slave? That every day you might go somewhere and give you hand out? Your lawmakers should be able to put you policy that will better your life, that will give you a better future. And Darren Dillon did that. Do we support that bills? How many of us call our senators and our representatives to say, you got to get behind that bill. We want you to sign that bill. The press, the civil society. But everybody's so corrupt in the country. And so because once they get in something, again, that's what we need to educate our people. And that is why we will continue to educate our people on the show. Look at the big picture. Like Dr. Martin Luther King said, don't let nobody tell you nothing. Don't let nobody tell you nothing. And so tonight, if you never heard or watched that interview, I encourage you to share the video. We must rally around Senator Darren Dillon to reintroduce that bill. We must call on the President pro tem, Senator Lawrence, Youngblade Lawrence Kanga, and the various senators, including the lawmakers, right now, the representatives, that bill must pass. For those of us that are in the diaspora, we need to get behind that bill. It's a very important bill. But we sit down and we complain, lawmakers are making 50,000, 20,000. Yeah, man. Put it on the floor. What did we do with it? We did nothing. We did nothing. Every day we must complain, we must complain, we must complain. We must point fingers. Sad. So, ladies and gentlemen, time is fast spent. I want to say thanks to each and every one of you for tuning in. Monday we'll be back here, full blast. And we'll be playing Darren Dillon's speech again. And as we prepare to celebrate the birthday of an icon, a legend, a man who paved the way for freedom for me, we want to say happy birthday to Dr. Martin Luther King. We'll be here diving into various speeches of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he transformed the landscape of this country. And we'll also discuss, are we making use for the freedom that Dr. Martin Luther King fought for? And so once again, we want to say thanks to each and every one of you for watching. We appreciate you. Stay warm, man, people. It's going to be cold this weekend. For those of you who can't drink, do not do too much. Have a pleasant evening. Good night. Stay safe. Stay blessed. Love you all. This is your host, SUBOR Freeman, saying so long from the members of Goyah studio. You have a pleasant evening. Good night, everybody.